Hello. Welcome to Shaun Academy. Today in this video we're going to learn how to start a funeral home business. My name is Brandon and I will be your instructor in this video. Now, before we start a funeral home business, let's take a closer look at what goes into starting one and how we can make yours profitable. Funeral directors have the opportunity to make families' lives easier during extremely difficult times. Working in this industry can be rewarding, and many business owners find satisfaction in assisting families in honoring and remembering their loved ones. While funeral homes were traditionally passed down through families, the industry is changing, and more funeral directors are opening their own businesses. Starting a funeral home may be the right choice for you if you want to start a business that is both emotionally and financially rewarding. Funeral homes provide a variety of services, such as memorial services and the preparation of the deceased for funerals or cremation. Funeral directors typically assist in the management of funeral arrangements and plans, thereby assisting families during this difficult time. Funeral directors can assist families in selecting caskets, urns, and other products. They work with all parties involved in a funeral, including clergy, cemeteries, and crematoriums. Funeral homes also provide many of the funeral materials, such as flowers, music, and memorial cards, and they usually transport the deceased and their families to the cemetery. Because the funeral industry can be emotionally draining, you should open a funeral home for the right reasons. If you're only concerned with the profits, you'll probably find it difficult to stick with the business in the long run. Successful funeral home owners find the process of assisting families rewarding, allowing them to focus on the industry's positives rather than the sadness that can surround the business. Funeral homes typically market to families who have lost loved ones, but this is not always the case. Funeral homes are increasingly offering funeral pre-planning, in which individuals can specify their wishes and even prepay for a funeral, so funeral homes may market to people who want to lessen the burden on their loved ones when they die. Different businesses may have specializations, such as providing green funerals, which can help them narrow their target market. If you're thinking about opening a funeral home, you should do your homework first. Here's a checklist to get you started. Step 1. Develop a business plan. After you've come up with an idea, the next step in starting your business is to write a business plan. Not only will a bank require you to have a business plan, but numerous studies have shown that having one increases your chances of starting a successful business. Step 2. Establish a business entity. A business entity, also known as a business structure, is how a company is legally organized to operate. There are 4 main business structures to choose from: sole proprietorship, partnership, corporation, and limited liability company, LLC. Each entity type has its own set of advantages and disadvantages, such as liability exposure, costs, and administrative requirements. When deciding which business entity is best for a funeral home, the sole proprietorship and limited liability company are usually the 2 options. A partnership exposes the owners to unnecessary personal liability because if one partner causes the business to be sued or steals money from the business, the other partners are personally liable to repay. Because it separates the business assets from the owner's assets, the corporation can be a good choice for minimizing liability risk. If the corporation is sued or certain business debts are unable to be repaid, the owners are not personally liable to repay them. The disadvantage of the corporation is that it is more complicated than the other entities and necessitates more administration than the LLC. However, if you intend to raise a large amount of capital, a corporation is usually a better option. That leaves sole proprietorships and limited liability companies, LLCs. The sole proprietorship is the cheapest and simplest entity to establish, which makes it appealing. The owner is personally liable if anything happens to the business, which is an important consideration. The LLC allows you to operate as a sole proprietorship while still having the liability protection of a corporation. Depending on the state, the cost of forming an LLC ranges between $40 and $500, which is a reasonable price to pay to protect the owners from business-related lawsuits and certain debts. Forming an LLC may appear difficult and costly, but using an entity formation service guides you through the process so you know it was done correctly. Step 3. Give your company a name. Finding the ideal business name for a funeral home can be difficult. The name must not only be memorable to your customers, but it must also be available for use. Step 4. Decide on a location. It is critical to conduct extensive research on your location and target market in order to determine which services will be in high demand. Be prepared for cultural differences in funerals. Each culture has its own practices and traditions that shape the mood and design. The greater your awareness and sensitivity to this, the larger your target audience will be, and the better your business reputation will become. Because of the size of the building required, the rent for a funeral home can be quite high. In addition to rent, most buildings will necessitate extensive renovations in order to be suitable. Because of these renovations and the unique design that a funeral home necessitates, many funeral homeowners prefer to buy rather than rent their buildings. Finding an existing funeral home for sale or rent may be the best option, as it will save time and money on renovations and allow the business to open sooner. If you found this video useful, please show your appreciation by clicking the like button. Also, let us know in the comments if you'd like us to make a long, comprehensive follow-up video to learn more about how to start a funeral home business. Also, don't forget to click the subscribe button to see more videos from Shaun Academy, an extension for education.